Good morning, everyone. Happy Media Day. Been an exciting offseason for us. Obviously, a lot going on in our world, and I think very exciting for our fans. First and foremost is the change of ownership, which started this summer. It's a good time for us. I think bittersweet for me. I've really enjoyed working for Jody, for Bert, for Paul. I've been with the organization for almost 13 years. And I've learned a lot from them. They're incredible stewards of this organization, have really helped us get to where we are today, and just very excited for what's next as well. Have got the chance to meet Tom during some of our due diligence calls and things like that. He seems excited, energetic, has a proven track record of winning, obviously, in Carolina with the Hurricanes. And, he and his group have made, a multi-billion-dollar bet on Portland, which I think which speaks volumes given that some businesses are kind of doing the opposite these days. Further, I think on the court and off the court, it's a lot of momentum. We had an incredible second half, which Joe and Chauncey will talk a little bit more about. But for us on the business side, it's been incredible. Great second half to the season in terms of ticket sales. We hit all of our revenue goals. Got to 91% season ticket renewal, which is great for us. And then we're 5th in the league right now in new season ticket sales. So fans are excited. They're on their way back, and all that's been fun. Incredibly exciting to bring Dame back. I haven't seen him yet in the halls, but it's just going to be the surreal feeling to see him on Media Day again. I was up here 2 years ago talking about how great, how much he meant to this organization. So the chance to bring back not only a guy who's a top 75 player of all time, but somebody who is a Blazers legend is incredible for our organization. For those who got to go to the event a couple weekends ago where we brought Dame back downtown, it was just incredible. Thousands of fans, showing their love for Damian, and just an incredible time. I think on the last part, I'd say, lots of renovations inside the Moda Center this summer. So many of you last week got to see the new scoreboards. It's probably the most significant in-bowl enhancement that we've made, and every single fan will get to experience that and see that up close, which is fantastic. And we've made some major changes around the concourse and the commons. We do our usual, change up some of the restaurants for our fans, and added some new club spaces and updated some others. So should be a great season for our fans. Excited for what's up and what's coming, and look forward to answering any questions y'all have.
Dewayne, I know this is obviously not like your decision, but is there any update from your end or from your knowledge on the situation with the games being available on YouTube TV as of now?
Nothing yet. I would say we've obviously made, I think, the best decision that we could to make our games available to our fans as possible. And so I'm a little bit frustrated for our fans, I think, in terms of the quality that we've seen across the different DMAs and across the channels, but I think we're working on that very closely. We always have Blazer Vision. That's another opportunity for our fans. So our goal is just to provide as many opportunities as possible for our fans. I don't think there is a simple fix anymore. I just think it's really challenging to try to find full distribution all the way through on every single cable platform. They pick and choose, and that's kind of the way that they operate. But I think our goal is always to make the games as available as they can, and we continue to work on that.
There's so much talk about it needing replaced or build a new arena. Give us kind of your stance on the building.
Yeah, I mean, Jason, it is true that it's the oldest building in the NBA that hasn't seen a major renovation. So it definitely needs work. I think Adam had mentioned that in his press conference at a Board of Governors meeting this summer. And there's definitely work that needs to get done. And it's you can kind of look throughout the arena, and we've done a lot of different projects that have shown the kinds of things that we could do. I've shared that with some of these folks in this room about what some of those projects are. So it definitely needs something, and I think that's the big part. I think, again, in diligence calls that we've had, it feels like that's a huge priority for Tom and his group. So we're excited to get started on a lot of that work, and it's an important one. I think you look at You look at how much we generate from an economic impact in downtown, it's almost $700 million. We're bringing 1.6 million people down to the Moda Center each year. So it's a really great opportunity to do something incredible down here. The governor and the mayor have both publicly said that they're willing and excited to do a public-private partnership. I've been able to thank both of them personally for that message. So I think there's nothing but momentum to try to get something done.
But you're not on the side of, we need a new building.
Not at this time. Of course, new ownership will have a decision on that, but I think this building has, as they say in those terms, good bones, right? So.
Dewayne, as far as the transition, is this working? I don't know, as far as the transition goes with the ownership, how would you describe like what you're able to do? Is it business as usual, like big decisions or, that sort of a thing? Do you feel like you have the choice to be able to do that?
Yeah, that was really a priority for us, even when this process started in this spring, was that it was business as usual. So, Jody maintains her ownership of the team, the estate, all of that until a time when that changes, which we don't know the total deadline or timeline on that yet. But, we've been able to get a lot of projects done around here, been able to sign players, trade players. Joel can talk more about that. But there has not been any restrictions or anything in terms of how we operate the business. And Jody's always been focused on the long-term, sustainability of the franchise, and that's the route we've taken.
Wait, it doesn't work, but it makes me feel important. Can you describe the business impact of drafting Young and the kind of this global surge in popularity of the team? What does that look like for you guys internally, and what decisions have you guys had to make to sort of prepare for what that means?
Yeah, I remember in Joe's first press conference as GM, he made a point to say that the team was going to invest in international scouting and players, and he'll be able to tell you this. I hope I'm not stealing his thunder, but this team played the most international minutes of any team in the league, and two of our prominent players are obviously international stars. So for me on the business side, when we drafted Young, of course I was very excited for what those opportunities meant for our organization globally. I think it's really important for us to make sure we build that relationship. There are fans that may have heard of us in China, but there's plenty of new fans who are hearing about the Portland Trail Blazers for the first time, and I think we need to be authentic and focused in our relationship building that we do with them. And of course, if we do that well, I think there's business opportunities down the road. One thing that I noticed this summer, I've been with the team, like I said, almost 13 years, and we were #1 in the league in social media rankings in July during Summer League, which I've never seen before, and a lot of that was due to the incredible audience that Hansen brings to us. And then in terms of our Chinese platforms, which I'm still just getting to know, Douyin, Red Note, and those areas, it's been an incredible explosive growth. So I think this has been our team did such an incredible job in July, I think, building those relationships and looking forward to starting that for the season. Hey, Tammy.
Have any comment? Obviously, it is not to do with your team, but it's to do with another team that will play in the building. Any comment on the Rush Sports lawsuit against the Churns, who are part of the ownership group to buy the Blazers here coming up?
Thanks, Tammy. No comment on my side. Obviously, that lawsuit does not concern the Blazers or the estate.
You may have already answered this question, so forgive me, but what level of communication, if at all, have you had with Mr. Dundon and his ownership group, and what have those conversations been like if you've had those?
Yeah, as we do with any new ownership group, there's a lot of due diligence calls that happen, lots of questions, getting Tom up to speed on the franchise. So I would just characterize those conversations as he's energetic, he's got lots of questions, and he seems like a great guy.
What are you thinking about as head of business ops about kind of this ownership transition? That is obviously a huge shakeup for your staff. So kind of just talk me through how you're talking with your staff through that, kind of just how the front office is approaching this change of ownership.
Yeah, our situation's unique. I think we all knew at some point the team was going to be sold, and so it was always in the back of, I think, every staff member's mind that at some point this would happen. I remember we met as an all-staff when that news broke and answered a bunch of questions, and staff were really, I think, in a great spot. And I said this last week at a meeting we did with the scoreboards, but I do want to commend our staff for being able to manage through this. I think, there's always uncertainty when these things happen. You can't avoid that, but we've done a lot and accomplished a lot this summer as a group, and I'm really excited that, even with the uncertainty, our team has really plowed forward and made it hasn't disrupted the momentum that we started in the second half of the season.
Dwayne, you talked about building that relationship with China and stuff, like, what does that look like? What does that really entail?
I mean, it's a lot of. I mean, there's a couple things. One, it's a lot of building on social media. So we worked very closely with NBA China. I think our staff in the last 2 months has taken speed courses on trying to understand what the opportunities are in China, both from a engagement standpoint and then also a business standpoint. There's the international games, which are going back to Macau this year. Obviously, we're not part of those, but we're kind of watching to see how that takes place. And then for us, what's exciting is being on the West Coast and starting our games when we start them. It's actually a very good time for China. It's their morning and their time to be able to view those games, so that's been great. And then I've just been pinging my colleague at the Houston Rockets, who's been there a long time. She's the president, and trying to understand not just the initial burst of excitement that fans had when they drafted Yao, but the carry-on effects of having someone like that on your team. Like, you become a team that country cares about, I think, even after the fact. So,
Will you be adding any staffing to address this?
yeah. So we have hired. Person doesn't start for a bit, but we hired a social media person who's Mandarin speaking who can help us manage that content.
Dwayne, thank you for taking this. I was wondering, are there any data you would like to share, or operational strategy for business since Hanson joined the Trailblazer, especially when you get onto this position, and anything you can share with us today?
Yeah, I think, as I said, it's been a bit of a crash course for the last 2 months in us in terms of understanding that. I remember going to a summer league practice and talking to one of our staff members who played over in China, and he walked up to me and he said, "Are you ready to have 800 million new sets of eyes on your product?" And I kind of laughed. And then summer league happened, and for those who got to see it, it was quite the experience. So again, we're still getting our arms around it. A priority really is to build that relationship, introduce the Portland Trailblazers, introduce Hansen and the rest of the team to that audience, and get them really excited about our team.